Hi, and welcome to Exercise 1B, continuing our discovery, ArcMap in Glendale, Arizona. So I want you to go in and open up the map you created in Exercise 1A. No worries if you didn't save it. We just need to simply add two files and change the symbology to make it look like the pictures in the exercise. So open up ArcMap. And I am going to open up my exercise 1A. You may want to open up a blank empty map or open up exercise 1 and then add those two files. So recall we saved these as yellow and light blue. If you don't have those, if you forgot to save your map, simply go into Add Data, navigate to your CIA folder on the C drive, go into exercises, exercise 1, and then navigate to your data, your file geodatabase, GIS layers, and add those two layers. All right, so for exercise 1B, we're going to be doing a few things. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a city boundary. So we're going to go into the boundaries and city boundary P. Oh, there it is. And I'm going to click OK. And yours may pop up purple, pink, or some other color, but essentially it'll look like this. And what I want you to do is go into your table of contents and double click on that. Get to your symbology, get in there, and hollow out the color. So you can just click no color, or you can simply click hollow. It works the same way. Brian also wants you to change the thickness to 3. And I believe he wants it about a medium blue. Where's a medium blue? Apply and OK. And it should look something like this. The reason we hollowed out that color is because these mapping layers, think about them like an old school anatomy and physiology book. Do you remember how they had the transparencies, and each transparency had a different system? So maybe you had the skeletal system on one, where only the bones were visible, the muscular system on another, the nervous system, so on and so on. And when you put it all together, you could clearly see how all the pieces and parts fit together to form the human body. So this is kind of like that. If you don't have some level of transparency within the layers, you can't see what's underneath them. And in the table of contents, what it'll do is everything that's on the top you see visible first, and then it's like an onion, you have to kind of peel it as you go down. So most of the time you'll have boundaries on the top and you'll have them hollowed out so that you can clearly see where the different lines are, but you can see things that are underneath it. One thing to be careful about is, and my students often will do this, is they'll select the color white. Well, white is not hollow, so you can't see through it. Instead of looking through a transparency, it's like looking through a white piece of paper. It'll still block what's underneath from visibility. So, all right. So we can also go in and make this a little bit fancier. So let's edit the symbol. So I just simply double clicked on the symbol, right? I'm going to go to Edit Symbol. And I want to edit the outline. And as you can see, there's a lot of different options. And Brian wants us to pick the boundary township. So we're going to scroll down until we see that, and we're going to select it. Notice what it did is it went to what the natural color and outline width is. Let's turn this thickness back to 3 so that's easier to see. And let's turn it to kind of a lighter brown. So burnt umber, that'll work. So we'll hit OK, Hit OK, and OK. And now you can see that our map looks something like this. All right, so the other thing we need to do for this exercise is add the grids layer. So go back into Add Data, and you can see it's also still in the boundaries. So we're going to add Grids P, add. Again, just note the previous discussion about the transparency. This is like slapping a blue piece of paper with grid lines on it over everything else. It's hard to see. So we need to go in and hollow it out. So we can hollow it, and we're going to use kind of a charcoal gray outline so that we can see the other layers underneath it, one of them being the city boundary that we just customized. All right, so the next thing that Brian wants you to do is to add the bike routes. So we're going to have to go back under Transportation, find the bike routes, and he wants us to also select Glendale Streets Plus. So to do that, I'm going to push down my control button and hit Add, or you can certainly do these one at a time. Again, you know, your colors may differ. The last time I was in this file, my street colors were kind of a maroon. Now they're blue, so don't worry if the colors don't look the same. So for right now, I'm going to unselect this. It just means that I don't want to look at it right now. I'm changing the visibility. And on that note, you could actually go into List by Visibility, and you can see that those layers that are not visible are in the not visible category. Okay. All right, so we're now on about step 40, and we're going to go in and we're going to change the bike route's name. Go under General here, and we're going to change that just to simply bike routes. Earlier, about step 26, Brian is asking us to change the names. I had already done that previously, but am now re-recording this, so they are not showing that change. So I'm just going to simply go in and redo that real quick. Again, this is from step 26. So I'm going to change this to simply labels. Oops. We're going to change this just to grids. We're going to change this to Glendale boundaries. And street labels to reference boxes. All right, so we kind of have these renamed. So moving on to about step 40, we've renamed it, but now we need to go in and change the symbol type. So we're going to double click this. It's already in the edit symbol mode, so we're going to go find the boundary county, which is right here, and we're going to select OK. And you can see that all of our bike routes have changed in style. So our map should look something like this. All right, we're going to start dealing with the select function. This is going to be a really important function throughout in creating queries and doing a number of things. So the select button is right here. And you can simply click it and you can go in and say, you know, I want to see what this is. And it's basically highlighting those two grids and the entire Glendale boundary service. So we're going to clear that out. You can also go in and select by rectangle, polygon, lasso, circle, or line. But the first thing we need to do is go by list by selection and make sure that we only have a few layers that are selectable, whichever ones we want to work with. And in this case, we only want to work with one. So I'm going to hit these little boxes right here for everything except for the bike routes to make sure that the bike routes are the only selectable layer. So that way when I select something, it's only going to select the bike route instead of the grids, the boundaries, all that goes along with it. After you're done selecting things, you always want to, it's kind of like erasing a chalkboard. You just want to clear those selected features. You know, once you've done what you needed to with them, maybe you've created a separate layer, maybe you've done any number of things, but make sure that you clear that out. All right, so here I want you to go into selection options. And note that the default is select features that are partially or completely within the box or graphic. So basically anything that's on the line or inside of the line will be selected. So let's play around with this for a little bit. Select by rectangle. In the exercises, Brian wants you to select somewhere around here. It's hard to see, so we're going to first zoom in. So I'm going to hit my zoom in button, and I'm only going to zoom in to kind of this top area here. And this is what the map will look like. I'm a chronic button pusher, so I often hit buttons and end up accidentally zooming in, zooming out, panning, whatever the case is. So I'm going to create a bookmark here, and you just go up to bookmarks, create bookmark, and I'm going to put this as about step 46. So I'm just going to call it step 46. That way, if I accidentally hit something, I can bring the map just to this view. So I'm going to hit this full extent button. That'll always bring your map back to the full extent where you can see everything that's on your map. And then I'm going to go, see, I did it again. I just accidentally hit something. There we go. And I'm going to go into bookmarks, and I'm going to go to step 46. And you can see that that obviously brought me right back to where I wanted to be. All right, so now we're going to go and select by rectangle. Okay, and if we select, say, this area here, all the bike routes that touch or are inside of that rectangle are going to show up. I can clear that out, and I can also do by polygon. Let's say that I don't have an even area. Double click it at my last point, and you can see that every bike route that touched or falls within that polygon is now selected. Okay, we're gonna just clear that out. Let's do lasso, kind of a similar thing here. There we go. One thing I also want to look at right now is maybe I want to see what those bike routes are. So I'm going to right click over the bike routes. I'm going to open up the attribute table. And if you notice, there's 13 out of 104 different bike routes that are selected. And these are the ones that are showing up as selected on my map. So what's cool about this is I can do a number of things. Let's say that these are crimes. Let's see that these are actually point locations. I can go in and now just do analysis and see, or even just make a table out of those particular things. It's a real time saver and is a very useful trick. All right, another thing that you can do here is that you can switch the selection. So let's say I wanted to see all the bike routes that fell outside of that lasso area. So I'm going to do this, and now the 13 that were originally selected are deselected, and now we have 91 that are selected. And if you go back to our map, you can see that all the other lines are now selected. Okay, so that's essentially what we're doing here for exercise 1B. Make sure to save your map. Play around with this a little bit. Make sure to clear the selected features out when you're done. That's a really important step. We'll be harping on that all the way through. And congratulations, you have just completed exercise 1B.